The 2025 Formula 1 season will feature 6 new rookies. And yes, I count Lawson as a rookie. Now I have the feeling that Bernd Mailänder is gonna have his most stressful season yet. Anyway, today I wanna talk a bit about the rookies, who they are and what their journeys were like. Let's start with the Italian wonder child Kimi Antonelli to get his name out the way as soon as possible. He dominated way too many F1 news and I'm already fed up with him. According to a lot of self-proclaimed experts, Andrea Kimi Antonelli is the biggest talent in F1 since our demon himself, Sid Verstappen, and he will be joining the list of the youngest F1 drivers ever with only 18 years old. Now let's try to figure out why Toto Wolff loves him more than his pumpernickels. Kimi was only 11 years old when Mercedes discovered him and has been part of the Mercedes Junior program since 2019. Toto personally took care of his development, at least that's what they say. Kimi proved everyone right at Mercedes, with winning the 2022 and 2021 European Karting Championship and debuting in F4 with only 15 years of age. But that was just the beginning for him. In 2022 he won the Italian and German F4 Championship, winning 22 races out of 35. Very impressive.
Bravo!
You are probably thinking he got promoted to F3 after his performance. Well, he didn't. Instead, he participated in the Formula Regional, European and Middle East. What's the Formula Regional, you might ask? Well, excellent question. I didn't know it either. Shame on us casuals. This series debuted in 2019. It's kind of a bridge between F4 and F3. The F4 cars have 160 horsepower, while F3 cars have 380. To help the drivers make the jump into higher series, they introduced this series with 270 horsepower. And Kimi was once again ahead of the competition. Then Mercedes decided to make another unexpected move. They didn't draft him into the F3 team, they skipped F3 completely and promoted him straight into F2. He drove for the famous team Prema Racing, alongside with another rookie, Oliver Bearman. He couldn't deliver the results that he was used to and finished 6th in the standings. Now Mercedes was in a tricky situation after Lewis announced that he would leave the team. They were in need of a driver. Everybody kinda knew that they would promote Kimi despite his lack of experience. The hype around him was already massive and there was pressure from every side. And to make things worse, Mercedes decided to let him drive an FP1 at Monza. But only for around 10 minutes because he demolished Russell's car. And even in this moment, Toto was full of praise for him, saying that they don't need to find more pace for him, they need to slow him down. The following day, they made the announcement official, Kimi would drive for Mercedes in 25. But there's no denying that Antonelli has racing in his blood. His father Marco is a former racing driver and has his own team in the Italian F4 Championship. We can't deny this young man's talent, but we can argue that it may be too early for him and how he will handle the pressure. Even though he is a rookie, there are already huge expectations for him. Thanks, Toto. The next driver is not new to F1, but the next season will be his first time where he starts the season with a contract. I'm of course talking about the 22-year-old Kiwi, Liam Lawson. Get ready to hear about racing series you've never heard of, because bro raced in almost everything. Liam is from New Zealand, so he had to take a different route than most F1 drivers who were born in Europe. He started karting when he was 7 and gained experience there from 2009 to 2014. In 2015, with 13 years, he made his debut in his first Formula series, Formula First, where he finished 2nd in the overall standings. In 2016-2017, he crushed the Formula Ford New Zealand. He won 14 out of 15 races. In 2017, he was also active in the Australian F4 Championship, where he finished 2nd. 2018 was the moment for a big decision, moving to Europe. He drove the German F4, and because that was not enough, he also jumped into the Asian F3. In F3 he finished 8th, and in F4 he finished 2nd, again. In 2019 he got drafted into F3 and became a Red Bull Junior. He finished 11th in the F3 standings, but he also competed in the Euro Formula Open. Guess where he finished? Of course he finished 2nd. The EFO was basically another F3 championship, but the car didn't have the halo and his teammate was Rage Tsunoda. At the same year he was also competing in Toyota Racing Series, and he finally didn't finish 2nd, he won it. 2022 he had a better year in F3 and finished 5th. He also tried to win the Toyota Racing Series again. An engine failure, however, prevented him from winning back-to-back. You already know in which place he finished. 2021 came around and he decided to race a dual program again, entering F2 and DTM. F2 was nothing special, showcasing his talent there and finishing 9th. However, DTM went much better for him. Everybody thought that he would crown himself as the champion. In the last race, however, he only needed to finish 6th or above to seal the title. But the first lap he got hit by an idiot who destroyed his championship hopes and he finished 2nd in the overall standings again. You just can't make this shit up. In 2022 he only focused on F2 and was third at the end of the season, finishing in front of his teammate, the legend Logan Sargent. Red Bull was impressed with his performance and promoted him to reserve driver. In 2023 he was looking for a new challenge and raced in the Super Formula. Of course he finished second for the 98th time in his career. From now on we know what happened. Ricciardo broke his wrist at the Dutch Grand Prix and he replaced him for 5 races. In 2024 Ricciardo got sacked and he drove the last 6 races for the Racing Bulls. Showing enough skill to get promoted to Red Bull for the 25 season, replacing Sergio.
Yeah, very unfortunate, but we tried it.
Paris. Lawson's career is nothing short than remarkable. The following fact shows his ability to adapt and perform fast. He won his debut in Formula First, Formula Ford, Formula 4, Formula 3 Asia and the Toyota Racing Series. Lawson has nobody with a racing background in his family. Neither were they filthy rich like other drivers' parents. They sold their house to keep his dreams alive. His talent, combined with his hard work, make his dreams come true. And now he faces the biggest challenge from all the rookies, being teammates with Max Verstappen. We all know how this can end. And now we will take a look at another animal. And no, this is not the National Geographic channel. We are going to talk about Bearman. Hell nah, not this Bearman. Ollie Bearman. If you don't know this young lad, you might have missed something. We have to travel all the way back to the 2024 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. On Thursday, Ollie took part in the F2 qualifying and secured pole position. On Friday morning, Carlos' body started to behave like a real Ferrari and broke down. He was down with appendicitis. Bearman had 22 rounds to adjust to the SF24 and prepare himself for a high-speed track, which produced some heavy crashes in the past. But he did a great job and secured a 7th place, embarrassing the King's Guard, Lando and Lewis, and just finishing behind the true Kingsman. What a debut. However, that was not his only F1 race in 24. Kevin Magnussen was so impressed by Ollie's performance that he decided to let him compete in parkour for him. Or he got suspended by the FIA for collecting almost as many penalty points as he has points in the driver standings. You decide for yourself. Oh yeah, Bearman also drove for Haas at the legendary race in Brazil. They said that Kevin was ill, but I think he just couldn't be bothered to drive there. I mean, he's already the king of Brazil, just remember his pole in 22. Alright, now that we got Ollie's F1 experience out the way, I can tell you more about his racing history. Ollie started karting at 6 years old and motor racing at 8 years, racing across the UK and Europe. After winning the Kartmasters British Grand Prix in the cadet class, Ollie moved to junior karting in 2018 and truly began to shine. In 2019, he swept the International Junior X30 class, winning the Winter Cup in Valencia, followed by the European Series and the World Championship held at Le Mans. He showed his talent and was ready for the Formula Series. With a shortened and delayed season due to COVID-19 pandemic, Ollie made his Formula 4 debut with US Racing. Despite limited testing, he took 2 wins and 3 podiums, showing his natural talent and ability to adapt quickly. In 21, however, he truly began to shine. Ollie joined Van Andervoort Racing and made history. He became the first driver to win both the Italian and German Formula 4 championships, winning an incredible 17 races along the way. Ollie joined the Scuderia Ferrari Driver Academy as a result. In 22, he joined the infamous Prema Racing team for his F3 campaign and took 8 podiums and a victory at Spa-Francorchamps. Ollie finished third in the standings, just 7 points off the champion and losing out on a title in the shortened final race of the season. Debuting in Formula 2 in 23, Ollie impressively took 4 wins, 7 podiums and 4 pole positions across the season, becoming the second youngest driver in the series at that time. In the same year, Ollie made his F1 practice debut with Haas at the Mexican Grand Prix. His performance in F2 was kinda mid, but he already has proven himself. All in all, I look forward to his performance. However, I feel kind of sorry for him because his teammate, well, is the cringe lord.
Besties on the podium, baby!
Speaking of the cringe lord, that brings us to our next rookie, Jack Doohan. And yes, you have heard of him already, unless you're a girl who only watches Formula 1 because you think Lando and Charles are hot. Alpine fired Ocon before the last race of the season and let Jack race at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, where he finished 15th. Another driver from down under. Let's see what this story was like. Jack was practically born with the racing gene. His father, Mick Doohan, is a living legend of motorcycle racing, who dominated the 500cc class in the 1990s with 5 consecutive World Championship titles. However, Jack opted for racing 4 wheels instead of 2. Now, let's skip the karting parts for now, I'm getting tired of repeating myself. They all start the same and we don't care which karting competition they have won. In 2018, Doohan took the deciding step into Formula racing. He competed for Arden in the British F4 Championship and immediately showed his potential. At the same time, he also competed in the German F4, where he attracted attention with several podium finishes, finishing 5th in the British and 12th in the German Championship. And yes, he was part of the Red Bull program. And no, they didn't kick him out, but I wouldn't have been surprised. He himself decided not to extend the contract
by choice,
because the Alpine driver program appealed to him more. In 2019, Jack made his first appearance in the F3 Asia Championship, driving for High-Tech Grand Prix, where he won 5 races, claimed 3 podiums and finished 2nd in the championship. But he also competed in the Euro Formula Open, where he finished 11th. 2020 was probably his best and worst year at the same time. He returned to F3 Asian Championship, this time with Pinnacle Motorsport, just narrowly missing the title due to unfortunate technical failures. The Aussie took 6 wins and 10 podiums from the 15 races on his way to finishing 2nd in the championship, ahead of his debut in the FIA Formula 3 Championship. Jack raced for Race Lab in the FIA Formula 3, he didn't score any points during the campaign, and with a best finish of 11th, he classified 26th in the championship. In 21 he was on a redemption arc. Jack switched to Trident for his 2nd season in F3, a wise decision backed by 4 wins and 7 additional podiums. These results led to the driver's runner-up title, as well as the constructor's title for Trident. Jack also debuted in F2 and competed in the 2 final rounds. Following his strong F3 campaign, Jack announced he would be racing for Virtuos Racing in the 2022 FIA Formula 2 Championship. Marking his final full year in F2, heading into the last round of the season, Jack was sitting 4th overall, but was forced to retire and dropped to 6th in the championship. At the beginning of 23, Alpine announced Jack would act as the squad's reserve driver during the upcoming F1 season, marking the next step for the Australian. Doohan stayed with Virtuos Racing for another year for a final F2 season in which he secured 3rd place in the final standings. Now we know how Jack got his contract. However, it could be cancelled so quickly that you might think he's racing for Red Bull. Alpine signed Franco Colapinto as a reserve driver, and rumors are circulating that Doohan only has a few races to prove himself before he is replaced by Franco. And if you know what Flavio Briatore is like, then you can believe these rumors. In an interview, he only said that Jack and Pierre will start the season together and that he's only acting in the interest of the team and doesn't care how decisions are received. So with all of this, I'm afraid that it might be a short F1 run for Jack if he doesn't perform from the very start. Now let's work through the last 2 drivers. Do you recognize the music? Correct, we are in Brazil. The next driver is Gabriel Bortoleto, the first Brazilian F1 driver since Felipe Massa in 2017. We'll skip the karting parts for now, as we've already heard it 20 times. In 2020 he started his Formula journey in the Italian F4 with Prema Racing, showcasing his talent. In 21 and 22 he was competing in the Formula Regional. One of his teams was FA Racing, yes, Fernando Alonso's team. His performance impressed Alonso, and even though Gabriel switched teams, he got signed by Fernando's management company. With Fernando in his corner, he stepped up his game brilliantly, capturing back-to-back F3 and F2 titles in 23 and 24. At this point I have to show some respect to McLaren. After his first F3 title, he signed with McLaren Driver Academy. But due to their strong driver pairing, they decided not to stand in Gabriel's way and gave him free choice in pursuing his F1 career. Now you might think that he was Sauber's first choice as their 2nd driver, given his performances. But you're very wrong. Sauber considered Sainz, Bottas, Liam, Colapinto and even Ocon. But we all know how things turned out, and I honestly think that they made a good choice with Gabriel. With Hülkenberg, Bortoleto has a clear benchmark against which he can measure himself. If he can keep up with the German veteran in his first year, it would be a sign of a driver with a great future in Formula 1. We're all aware of Sauber's situation currently, racing as the kick team. The last 2 years were a disaster, so if he can't perform in his first year, we can blame the car, as they prepare for the Audi takeover. For the sport's sake, I hope he performs well and ends up as a Brazilian legend just like Senna. And of course, I mean winning titles and not dying in a car crash or dating a 15-year-old girl. So, that leaves us with only one driver left, the French talent Isack Hadjar. And if you're still watching, you're probably tired, so I'ma keep it short and simple. He drove in kart competitions from 2012 to 2018, but we're going to skip this part. 2019 and 2020 he competed in the French F4, finishing 6th and 3rd in the standings. In 21 he switched to Formula Regional, and for preparation he competed 9 races in the Asian F3. In the Formula Regional he secured a solid 5th place, but more importantly he got signed to the Red Bull Junior team, the team that brought us Verstappen, Vettel, Ricciardo and Sainz. In 22, with Red Bull's support, Hadjar joins the Formula 3 World Championship. Hadjar showed his talent and was battling for the title with the likes of Oliver Bearman. In the end he finished 4th, impressing the Doctor and the Horn Dog. 23 came around and he got promoted to F2, continuing with his team High-Tech Grand Prix. He earned a podium, but stayed winless, ending the season with 14th place in the standings. Red Bull believed in him, and so they gave him 2 FP1 drives, one with AlphaTauri at the Mexican Grand Prix, and one with Red Bull in Abu Dhabi. Now 2024 was an interesting year for F2. They changed almost everything: a new car, new engine, revised aerodynamics. These changes represent a new opportunity for the drivers. Thanks to his experience, Hadjar was declared as one of the favorites. He saw the opportunity and switched teams to Campos Racing, where he rediscovered his form. He had the lead long through the year, but at the end he was struggling and lost the title to our new favorite Brazilian, Bortoleto. Luckily, the 2nd place in the championship was enough, and Red Bull confirmed his seat for 25 with the Racing Bulls. I'm excited to see how many slurs he can learn from his teammate Tsunoda. Now that concludes our list. Thank you for watching, and comment which driver you're most excited to see. See you soon, guys.